Hey guys, Fear here from Storm, and welcome to another video guide on my warriors. Now this one is going to be a very special video because it is none other than Garrosh Hellscream, which is my most requested and most favorite hero I've always been wanting in the Nexus, and I'm super excited to finally be able to play him and to talk about him. So here we have Garrosh, pretty cool looking guy I'd say, and yeah, in this video, we're going to be talking a lot about his talents and his playstyle, so bear with me with all my chit-chattering, and yeah, without further ado, I'll show you guys how to go face with this Smork and show you how to win. Now let's talk about Garrosh's pros and cons. Garrosh's pros, I would say, is he's very sustainy tank. He has a lot of self-sustain due to his bloodthirst and then having armor up as well. So the lower health he is, the harder he is to kill, assuming the enemy team doesn't have heroes like Tychus and, you know, Leoric, stuff that just drains max HP. So yeah, just a strong pro from Garrosh is just being super tanky through sustained damage and being able to survive some bursts the lower health he gets. And just having another pro is having his kit being really reliant on like being close to melee heroes or anyone who's in melee range. He could definitely punish anyone who's out of position if he's able to get a Groundbreaker Earth Wrecking Ball combo. So that's a really strong pro. And then his talent tree and his ultimates are actually pretty flexible, so it's pretty nice to have. But majority of the time you're gonna pick only one of the you're only gonna pick one of the ults or the other. Used to be Decimate a lot, but I think it's going to be the Taunt most of the time. So, aside from that, I'd say he's a really good tank overall. Let's go straight to his cons. I'd say his major, like what really kind of is not good about him is his no mobility. So, trying to capture like heroes in the backline, all those squishy heroes that you really want to try and combo, it's a little bit harder since he has no mobility, so he's really easy to kite. So any heroes like Vala, Lunara, and then any other poke heroes like Li Ming, even Chromie are like really hard to punish because they're just out of your range and too fast. So Garrosh has issues trying to get to those main targets. So majority of the time, your easiest combos are going to be on anyone that's in melee range. So if you're lucky enough to get combos on those, you know, squishy backlines, then that means either you caught him out of position or someone else set you up for that kill. So that's a pretty strong pro to notice is, you know, Garrosh can easily be kited and outpoked if he's not careful. So a good Garrosh will kind of know how to play around that. A big thing you want to know as Garrosh is you want to play around Fog of War. So you want to be hiding in bushes a lot of time or just out of vision, just so the enemy team's unaware of where you're at, and then you can possibly get a gank off with mounting up at them and then getting a Groundbreaker Wrecking Ball combo. Now that we talked about his pros and cons, let's go over the talent tree. So for this guide, I'll show you all the different variations of talent builds you can do with Garrosh. This first one, I'll show you what I usually default to in almost every game. Obviously, in this game, talents are situational, but there's also some cookie cutter builds that, you know, people always follow. So, let's just go off what we assume the enemy team has, and I'll explain why I pick each talent. So, level 1, usually by default, you go this one, and increases the throw range of your Wrecking Ball and the damage. So, more damage is not bad, but the important part is the throw range. So, being able to throw the enemies farther would be just an overall good thing because you just throw them farther out of position. There's some maps like on Towers of Doom that you can throw them over the wall. If they're invading your camp, you can throw them into your base with this talent. So stuff like that, it's really good. So right now we're going to pick this talent, and then at level 4 it's usually between Thirst for Battle and Indomitable. Usually, you know, obviously if they have Muradin, Dahaka, any sort of CC that can just stop you from doing your combos or escaping, you're going to want to pick this. It's a 40-second cooldown, which is pretty strong. and it's a self cleanse. So whenever you see like a Stitch's hook coming for you, you just pop this right away and you'll be perfectly fine. And yeah, it's pretty good talent. So with this build, we'll assume the enemy team has stun, so we'll pick that. Level 4, if you didn't take the level 1 body check, obviously you can't take the level 7 body check upgrade, brute force. So with this build, we're going to go into the fray, which allows you to throw an ally. Whichever ally is closest to you, you're allowed to throw them every 30 seconds, and then you grant them 25 armor for 3 seconds. And also, if you throw them at an enemy, the enemy is also slowed for a bit. So when you pick this talent, you go to your enemy, you see the little blue horde icon here, so you press the button wherever you put your into the fray. I usually just put it on 3. So you just press it, and then you can throw your ally. And into the fray does not share the cooldown with Wrecking Ball, so you can also throw as well. So you can, ideally, if you're stuck in you have to wave clear, you can use both of these abilities, and they wave clear just fine, especially with the level 1 E upgrade. So level 10, we got Warlord's Challenge and Decimate. Before I used to think Decimate was better, but then Warlord's Challenge recently got a buff. It used to taunt nearby allies for 1.5, which was still pretty good, but now that they buffed it to 2 seconds, I think it's a pretty strong must pick if your team needs a CC. But if your team doesn't need a CC and you have enough of it, let's say maybe you have another warrior, you can go Decimate because it does a lot of damage and you can cast a lot of Decimates in the middle of a team fight, especially if you can get Garrosh in the middle of all the enemy heroes. You get a bunch of charges for Decimate. So for this build, we're going to go Warlord's Challenge. Now out of these 3, probably Blood Craze is the worst one. You got double up and defensive measures. Usually you take this if they're a bunch of range heroes, but I think most of the time you can make use of double up the most. It's a 40-second cooldown, and basically it says in the name, it doubles your armor that you're currently at. So if you're at 30 armor and you pop double up, you'll be at 60 armor for 3 seconds. So once you see, Leaming spells coming at you, or like Kael'thas is doing his combo on you, you can pop double up. So when you click it, it becomes your passive active, so you just press it. And then this is what the effect looks like for double up. So enemies, you can tell when he has it activated. So basically when he has it activated, ideally you don't want to hit him unless you're like Malthael or Tychus with % health draining. So you just want to play around that once you see the effect gone from him. So definitely a really strong 13 talent. It definitely abuses his armor. So once you get lower and lower, you want to pop it basically when you're around 20 to 30 armor before you end up dying. And it has saved me a lot of time, so I think it's a really strong talent. At 16, I used to go Mortal Combo when I was first starting to play Garrosh. It's so yeah, when you do your just original combo, you Q then E, like that counts as the Mortal Combo. So doing that combo reduces your Wrecking Ball, your E, by 10 seconds, as long as you do the combo within 2 seconds. So the combo is, pulling them with Groundbreaker and then throwing in the air. So that's what I used to think was good, but then I started playing around with Earthshaker more. And Earthshaker allows you to stun the target that you throw with your Wrecking Ball, as well as enemies around the impact area. So in the middle of a team fight, you can throw, let's say, anyone, like even like the warrior, at the enemy range, and it stuns them for a little bit, which might grant you enough time to get close enough to get a Groundbreaker or taunt combo. So when you pick Earthshaker, you just throw them, and then they're stunned for a little bit, and yeah, you can even combo it like this. Here, I have to wait for the dummy to come back. So let's say you catch someone out of position, you can throw them, they're stunned, and then you taunt them right away. And, that's like, yeah, it's about almost 3 seconds of CC. It's pretty good combo to do if once you get Earthshaker, you can even just throw them in place and then taunt. if you're not sure you can reach him far enough. But generally, when you want to throw him towards your team. And then if you're close enough, you want to taunt. Unless your other teammates have, like, let's say you have an Uther who can follow up. Then you throw him to your Uther. Your Uther stuns with his Hammer of Justice or whatever. And then you taunt right after. And that's a pretty good CC combo you can do. So yeah, Earthshaker, pretty good talent. Pretty much I think I'm going to always pick this talent now over Mortal combo. And then level 20, the Death Wish, his ultimate upgrade is insane, I would say. Increase the duration by Warlord Challenge by 0.5 seconds. So it's baseline 2, now it's a 2.5 second. But the crazy thing is, any enemy killed during the duration of the taunt, so for 2.5 seconds while they're taunted, if you get that kill on a hero, your ultimate is reduced by 45 seconds. So it's a baseline of 50 seconds. So it'll be a 5-second cooldown AoE taunt if you manage to get the kill. So upgrading this ult is a must if you go Warlord's Challenge. This other one, the Titanic Might, I've tried it once, but I haven't really seen the benefit of, just drawing 2 targets. I know, unless you like magically capture 2 like squishy targets with your Groundbreaker, then you can throw them both into your team and then taunt them, and then there's 2 dead squishies. Like, the chances of that is pretty low. So I'd say that's a big gamble, but I think Death Wish is a must get for level 20 if you get the Warlord's Challenge. So yeah, this is the pretty standard build I usually go almost every game in HCC when you see like me or probably Caterpillar play. So this is a pretty standard build. Let's reset the talents here. Another build you can go, which is a little more sustain and like more Groundbreakers, is this Warbreaker quest. And what it allows you to do is, after pulling 15 heroes, once you finish the quest, your Groundbreaker cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds. So the cooldown will be a 5 seconds, which is pretty strong, I would say, because you can just chase people forever with Groundbreaker and then position him in a worse spot with Wrecking Ball and then getting another Groundbreaker. So when you pick that talent, let's complete the quest here. Oh yeah, and also when you get 5 heroes, you deal some damage when you're pulled, so more damage, you can't complain. Oh, let's take the cooldowns off. So yeah, now it's a 5-second cooldown pull. Pretty strong, I'd say, if you want to just play around more Groundbreakers. At level 4, it's between these two. If they don't have any CC or any strong CC, I'd say even if they have 1 CC, like, it's still okay to take Thirst for Battle, as long as you know you can get enough auto attacks in. And later on, I'll show you a pretty hilarious clip of me in Hero League abusing this talent, basically. Since they didn't have enough CC and enough damage to kill me, I was able to auto attack a lot of times to get my Bloodthirst proc. So this talent's pretty good as long as you're allowed to auto attack a lot, and if they don't have a lot of CC. But yeah, if they have a lot of CC, you have to go this, because it's a lot of, it helps you a lot, and it'll save a lot of damage on you if you're able to not get chain stunned. So let's assume they don't have stuns, and we'll go with Thirst for Battle. Level 7, I think it's always just into the fray, even without the level 1 throw. Just being able to toss your allies, like, if anyone gets caught, it's good to just throw them into a better position. Level 10, yeah, just probably Warlord's Challenge. Alternatively, Decimate if you don't need the extra CC from Warlord's Challenge. You can go Decimate, and yeah, it'll do a lot of damage. This is like, if you want to go DPS Garrosh, I think this is probably, the build you want to be going. So let's pretend we're going DPS Garrosh. So we'll pick Decimate. And then we got, this 13 double up is usually good. But if you go this level 1 Q quest, I think Defensive Measures is a good talent, because you get a large shield for 6 seconds. And if you're not taking that much damage, you can have you could pretty much have a permanent shield up with this talent with the level 1 quest done. So when you pick this, here's a cool trick you guys can use. An easy way to get this level 13 proc is when you walk up to any enemy. If you have your Wrecking Ball up, you can throw the max range, and as long as you're throwing the max range, you'll always get this groundbreaker proc. You'll always get the pull off. So put the cooldowns back up. So as long as you just hover whichever direction, doesn't matter where, as long as you throw at max range with your wrecking ball and then cue that direction immediately, you'll always get this pull back. Oh, my cooldown wasn't up. Don't make fun of me. Okay, so no matter what, you'll always get that pull off, and then you'll always be proccing your level 13 talent if you do the combo this way. So if anyone's in your face and you're like, oh, I can't Q them, why am I not getting this shield? If you have your wrecking ball up, you can just throw them far and then throw them back, and then yeah, pull them back, and then you get the shield back for a little bit. So pretty neat trick you can do with this level 13 talent if you decide to go it and you need the shield right now. You just throw the wrecking ball, and then it like almost never fails. I think I've done this like 100 times, and I think I screwed it up once only because I didn't throw the target far enough. So you always just want to make sure you throw them max range, and then you always get that pull back. So pretty good talent, level 13 talent with the Warbreaker. And yeah, also you do bonus damage to them with whenever you pull them. So you can do this for shield and doing extra damage to the target. Now level 16 with this build, I would still go Earthshaker, because if you're doing the combo like I just showed you, you're not going to be getting that many mortal combos off. So I'd say, yeah, just having this small stun is always good. So upgrade that, and then at level 20 you get the Deadly Calm, which is really strong if you're in the middle of a team fight. You hit as many damage heroes as you can, even tanks or supports. Reducing their damage by 20% could actually be huge, because let's say you use this and you hit Malfurion before he Twilight Dreams, you know, that's 20% less damage of Twilight Dream. So that can also, like, you know, save your carries or anyone that they're focusing with, you know, heavy cooldowns like that. So yeah, this is the other alternative build if you want to go a more damage Warbreaker, Groundbreaker build. And then the last and final build, I know this one's a little bit long, this segment, but there's actually a lot of good talents for Garrosh. The last build is Body Check. So when you click this, you get an active ability, and what it does is you slow them and do damage depending on your armor bonus. So if you have extra armor, this will do a lot more damage and also increase the slow amount. So it's just another ability to use. You just, yeah, it's just very simple. You slow them and then you do damage. But the strong thing about this is the level 7. Let's say you're against double support with heal. So if you're against let's say Rhaegar and Lucio or something like that, having the body check against that, like those type of heroes, like if you see a Rhaegar about to Ancestral, you take this talent, and what it does is they get healing reduction by 50% for 4 seconds. So 4 seconds is a big, you have a lot of time to use it. Once you see Rhaegar's Ancestral hitting a target, you can just body check them real quick, and then they'll get the healing reduction, and they won't get as much healing from that ultimate. So there's a lot of heroes you can abuse the level 7 healing reduction with, and just knowing like what heroes require healing or have healing abilities, and reducing it can help a lot in a team fight. So like Dahaka Essence or Adaptation, you know, if you see him use the Essence at all, you just body check him and his Essence is reduced by half, so he doesn't get as much sustain, or his Adaptation doesn't heal as much as he would like. So yeah, body check is a pretty good talent if you need to reduce any healing. Aside from that, I wouldn't go this talent build. So with the body check, you just go standard this build, and then at level 20, I don't think it's worth to upgrade the inner rage, getting an extra body check, because I think 1 is enough if you know how to use it. So if you see the Rhaegar Ancestral, like, you know, use it once, you don't need to use another body check just for, I don't know, just for 8 seconds of healing reduction. It sounds pretty good, but I still think, because how Death Wish works and how strong it is, I still think that's a more valuable upgrade to get than getting another charge of your body check. So if you go body check, I'd say this is probably the ideal build. And yeah, just The important thing about Garrosh and his talents, he's got a lot of strong talents and a lot of alternative builds you can go. So looking at the game, whenever you pick Garrosh, just look at the enemy team and see what your team needs and what the enemy team has. And then, yeah, just build accordingly. And I'd say Garrosh has probably a really strong talent tree. So I hope you guys, learn from my builds and you can see what you need to use in your games when you lock in Garrosh. Alright, so in this first clip, I'll show you why Garrosh is such a bully in his lane and how strong his Groundbreaker and his Wrecking Ball can be. So, right here, I'm just stuck in the mid lane as Garrosh against Chen. So, whenever Garrosh is against melee heroes, whenever you're a melee hero, you have to be super careful and respect Garrosh's cooldowns. And, yeah, just not getting too close to him. Otherwise, he will just throw you into tower range, and then he can also Groundbreaker pull you back even into the tower range if he is skillful enough to run back at you and then get the pull off. So we'll roll the clip and I'll show you why you have to respect the Garrosh. So right here I get the pull, then I throw the Wrecking Ball. So Chen takes about half his health from that trade, which is pretty good damage. Right there I missed a Q thinking he was going to keep running, but then he stopped to drink. So, right now I'm just waiting for cooldowns, waiting for Chen to step up. So, right there, Chen made, like, the biggest mistake ever. Kicking into a Garrosh when he should know my cooldowns are up. So, the second he kicks onto me, I notice he does that, and I throw him back in. Tower is doing some damage. He doesn't get his elusive brawler up in time, so he took the full damage from the towers after being thrown. So, you see he's low health, and you might think he's getting away, but then you Groundbreaker, you have to memorize the distance to get the pull off. So if that means you have to step back a little bit to get the pull, then so be it. Just try and memorize the range that it is for Groundbreaker to get the pull off and not just getting the flat damage or just missing it. So I get the pull off, get another free auto, tower hits him, and yeah, that's a dead mid laner. So right there, just, watch Garrosh's cooldowns, memorize it. His Groundbreaker is 8 without the level 1 quest completed. And his Wrecking Ball is 16. And yeah, just if you can memorize that when he uses it, just play around Garrosh. Play around his range with his Groundbreaker in between the pole or outside of the pole. Just mainly the Wrecking Ball you guys have to watch out for. So don't be like this Chen and be super aggressive against a Garrosh. Otherwise, yeah, this will happen to you. Alright, so in this next clip, I'll show you why Garrosh's armor trait is really valuable, and also having a few talents. Having Thirst for Battle and Double Up also helps Garrosh a lot against slow damage. Granted, they have Li Ming and Genji. It's a little bit of burst damage, but if you manage to survive their burst, then you can out-sustain and live through a bunch of stuff. So, before we roll this clip, I'll explain what's happening. So, this is a Hero League. My team was pushing up mid keep, and they overextended a little bit, and then they started to chase us. Our Illidan died. So now begins, the chase that the enemy team is, yeah, they're all just chasing us down the lane, and yeah, it's a pretty crazy battle, and I'll show you just how much value you get from your trait, and mainly the Thirst for Battle, reducing the cooldown of your Bloodthirst for every auto. So roll the clip here, and we're battling. I get super low. I W, get a shield as well from Zarya. Also, this shows how OP shields are. Blizzard, please. So right here, I don't have my Bloodthirst cooldown. I don't think there's a shield ready for me. So I immediately pop Double Up, which is the level 13 talent. So now I got double armor, so I'm having around probably 60 armor. Oh no, 75 armor right there. So after using the Double Up, I immediately get another Bloodthirst proc. So in between trying to run away. Since Garrosh doesn't have mobility, if you know you're going to get caught and chased, you might as well try and get some autos in to get the reset of your Bloodthirst. So right here, I'm stalling for my cooldowns. I have Wrecking Ball with the level 16. It does a stun on the target and anyone around it for 0.75. That's just enough time to, to peel yourself off and wait for more cooldowns to come up. So here I am, super low. I get another Task Shield with some Bribing heals, and then Bribing uses Emerald Wind. I get enough autos, get another Bloodthirst in. We get a kill apparently. Super low health, Vanna. My team wants me to back. I say no. So you see here how low I've been this whole time, but I'm still deciding to fight. It's just, Garrosh is about knowing your limits, abusing your armor basically. So you see here I'm 40 armor, but I still have a Task Shield and I have some heals. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just trying to show you guys how long a Garrosh can live if played well with the right talents, and then obviously having the right supports with him. So Tassadar is definitely a good one to have, just having constant shields. And then the second one can be whatever, but the Bribing heals does help a lot. So yeah, that's how strong Armor Up can be with Double Up, and then if you decide to pick Thirst for Battle, that's a pretty good talent. So hope you guys learned a little bit of how, how much sustain, how hard it is to kill Garrosh the lower he gets in team fights. Especially with double support on his team, he's pretty much unkillable. Alright, so in this clip, I'll demonstrate how strong Garrosh can be, and having the right heroes with what Garrosh's kit is all about. Like, having the right heroes with Garrosh is definitely a really strong asset to have, and I'll demonstrate here why I think Garrosh is a good pick if you have the right teammates or the right heroes as your teammates. So right here on Dragonshire, I see Muradin in my sights, and then I know my Greymane and Malfurion are pretty close by. Greymane took Cursed Bullet, so that's a good way to deal with tanks, like pretty bursty. And then Malfurion Roots is just good with Garrosh throw. If you throw him in the right place and Malfurion follows up with Roots, then it can secure a pretty good kill. So I'll just show you how fast Garrosh can help with deleting someone. So right there, I don't think Muradin knew where I was. Granted, he did take some damage, so he was like about 70% before this combo started, but this will kind of give you a picture of how fast, you can deal with a tank. So I get the Groundbreaker from Fog, and then right after that, you can imagine, I'm gonna Wrecking Ball. So I Wrecking Ball towards my Malfurion, just so he can get the follow-up roots. So once my Malfurion sees where he's gonna land, he instantly puts the roots down. But since he wasn't fast enough with his roots, I was close enough to just use Warlord's Challenge, so that taunts him for 2 seconds. So after he lands, the stun's over, he's going to be taunted, and then right after the taunt's over, he'll be rooted. But we managed to just, the roots didn't really matter, but we managed to just kill him through, the Warlord's Challenge, and then the burst from Greymane and some damage from the Malfurion. And then, yeah, just like that, you can melt any tanks if you have a very strong comp with Garrosh. I think, Wrecking Ball is definitely a very, very strong tool to have. But yeah, Garrosh's weakness is mobility, so getting to those targets is going to be an issue. But if you can play around Fog of War, hiding in bushes like this, or, yeah, just hiding in bushes around, just staying out of vision, people will never know where you're at, and you can sometimes get the Groundbreaker from Fog, and yeah, it can sometimes net you a kill if you have the right teammates next to you with your combo. Thanks everyone for watching my guide to Garrosh and another one of my warrior guides. This episode was very special to me because it's my favorite hero, as some of you may know. So I went into a lot of detail about this hero and everything you can do with him, with his builds and his playstyle. So I hope in the end, you guys stuck through and got to learn a lot from my viewpoints and stuff like that. So if you have any more questions, always feel free to use Twitter and, just send a tweet to me asking any questions or anything like that. You can follow me on Twitter at FuryHots. And also give a follow to Tempo Storm, and be sure to subscribe here to the Tempo Storm Heroes of the Storm channel for any more guides from me or any other content from the Heroes team. So again, thank you all for the support, and yeah, Loktar Ogar.